Hi, Solar Sandy here, and I'm here with Jacie F. And she had experienced something, and she called me probably last summer. You heard me on the radio?
Yeah, actually, I think it was in last November.
Last November. It seems
Yeah.
longer because we've been dealing with this for a while.
No, and maybe that's when November was when we sent the letter out. So yes, I
Yes.
have been talking to you since summer, but we were
Yes, because you
trying to
heard,
figure out how to go about.
you heard me on the radio
Yeah.
talking about zero APS bills, and that I was a nurse and that you were a nurse, and I think sometimes we can connect when we hear somebody that's in the same profession, or just that I hope that I come across that I'm very passionate and very sincere about what I'm talking about. And the reason I have you here today to talk about this is you're not the first, nor will you be the last that's getting incorrect information from these solar sales guys that are knocking on doors, and basically that's why I really, my heart went out to you, because it almost happened to my daughter, Jacie, when my daughter's bill was over $500, and I wasn't in a position to help her pay that bill. I'd had a bad accident. I was on Social Security disability, and we had two sales guides come out from, and they were good, reputable companies, and reviews and references and all the rest of it. But when we sat down, and my daughter said, I understand how we didn't go with the first guy because he kind of reminded her of a used car salesman. The second guy was like khaki shorts and a polo shirt, and very polite, and he sounded very informative. But my daughter concluded, Mom, those two guys were trying to sell me solar panels, and you're not. And so I figured out, when I was a nurse, Jacie, this is giving away my age, almost 59, there was no smartphones. We did math the old-fashioned way, pen, paper in our brain, and you probably still do it because we're dealing with lives. When we were nurses, we're dealing with people's lives, not just electricity. So I figured out the formula for my daughter's home, that it did make sense. She was going to produce her power and pay less for it, and eliminated her having a power bill after that. And unfortunately, that's not what you experienced. You experienced
the slightest.
Not
in the slightest. Despite the fact that I was sold a bill of goods, that didn't match at all what in reality is occurring and has been occurring.
Yeah, and then you did a lease versus a purchase, and if a lease is done correctly, they can serve the purpose. But in your case, I don't recommend them anymore in Arizona with the current rate plans, because they can't be done to eliminate and bring your bill down to zero. So that's why I don't recommend leases anymore after the new rate increases with APS, new rate plans with APS. So let me just be clear. I no longer recommend a lease under any circumstance in the state of Arizona. They just don't serve the best purpose for the maximum savings and benefits to homeowners. And in your case, and like I said, almost happened to my daughter. In my daughter's case, they made it sound so good.
They do.
That she was going to save all this money. And now tell everybody what you're experiencing.
It's been absolutely horrible. I'm not the type of person that allows door-to-door salesmen, people into my home. But my uncle happened to be over that day. He was helping me hang some blinds, and I had somebody knock on my door. And they said, "Hey, we've got till the end of the year to offer this government program, free solar panels on your roof. You're going to save all this money."
Yeah.
And I said, "Thank you, but no thank you." And I shut the door. My uncle said, "I just read an article about this. It's legitimate. You should let him in."
Yeah.
So I opened the door and said, "Hold on a minute, come back."
Right.
And listened to this whole spiel about how I was going to save all this money, and I was no longer going to have a bill with APS. And I said there was a little caveat to store the power so that it was used at night. I would have to pay APS a $10 to $15 fee every month.
Right.
But I was going to save all this money, and it was going to be excellent. And I listened to them and decided to go ahead and go with them. Right. At the time, I was paying APS $109 a month for my, I was on an equalizer plan, so I paid the same in the summer and the winter.
Sure.
And I was paying $109 a month.
Right. And what year was that, Jason?
It's 2020 now, so that was in 2017.
Good.
So I've been with them for almost 3 years now, and it's been a disaster.
And the reason I wanted to reference how long ago that is, if it had been done correctly, if it had been done right, there's been 2 increases since then. So you would have been saving money if they had done you right.
If it was done correctly.
If it was done correctly. So.
But no. So after the solar panels went up and I went live with the solar, that first month I received a bill from APS for over $100. And I received a bill from Sunrun. Sunrun is $128 a month. Right. And again, I realize $128 is more than $109, but they said with all the rate increases, right, you're going to save all this money, right? And you'll be immune to the rate increases. So I called Sunrun, I called APS, and I said, I don't understand. How do I have an over $100 bill with APS? And my $128 bill with you. Now I'm paying 2 large bills for my electricity.
Yes, more than double what?
Yes.
You're paying.
So now in the summer, I pay anywhere from $150 to $170 to APS. In addition, I pay $128 to Sunrun. I pay an astronomical amount of money for electricity. Yes. And in the winter and various off seasons, because we are in Arizona where it's really hot. Well, I'm still paying the 128 plus APS has never been less than on a really good month, $50.
So let me just recap and say this. You were basically flat out lied to. You were given misinformation, but because you trusted somebody, and this happens to a lot of people, a neighbor did it, and then you think, oh, well, this is a good thing to do, but your uncle had said, oh, I read something about it. This is not as easy as it sounds. And as people sometimes make it sound to be. And that is why when I was helping research with my daughter, that it's a mathematical formula. If it's done correctly, there's great savings. If it's done incorrectly, it can be your worst nightmare. And that's what you're experiencing. And so Jacie called me and said, Solar Sandy, can you help? And I said, I'm going to do everything that I can to help you. So, We've been bringing attention to the Attorney General because what was your experience when you called Sunrun and put in a complaint and all the rest of it? Did they listen to you? Did they help you?
Not at all.
Did APS help you?
No, not at all. In fact, I've gotten completely conflicting information between APS and Sunrun. Yeah. Sunrun told me that the nominal fee I was supposedly paying APS was to bank power to use at night on an occasional cloudy day. Yeah. APS says, we have no ability to bank your solar power. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. So that's why I was so upset. I feel like I've been completely lied to, fraudulently taken in as a Sunrun customer by all these promises that have not come to fruition at all.
And that salesperson, I bet you've never been able to reach that person again.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So
nor did I even have an agreement. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I had to beg them for the agreement because, like I said, it was the very first month I called and said, hey, what's going on? This isn't at all what I was sold. Where's my agreement? I don't even have an agreement.
And that's why Jacie's here today, because I want to get this information out to many, many people. Jacie's not the first person that's called me, and she won't be the last. And this is more of a public service announcement. We are taking steps now to the Attorney General and some other very serious actions because these kinds of practices need to be stopped. Unfortunately, solar is a non-regulated industry where people don't have to go and be registered like a lawyer or a doctor or even nurses. We had to be licensed. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, this is an uncharted territory. So if you woke up this morning and said, oh, I want to go sell solar panels, they'll basically let anybody into this industry. Be very careful. And so I have just one household, one family at a time, given them educated information to make their own decision because solar, if it's done correctly, is a solution. Now, don't let what happened to Jacie happen to you. Solar works. We're all going to have a power bill. It's all going to continue to increase. And you can produce your own power on your own roof and pay less for it. And in APS, one of the main reasons she called, she heard me saying, zero APS bills are possible. I do it all the time. I've done it for many, many, many families, and my bills are online for people to see bona fide APS bills of zero and people getting checks back at the end of the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to keep you updated on Jacie's situation. We're going to really push hard and strong with the Attorney General and the install partner. It's a company that does the installs, but Jacie has no real recourse with them because her contract is with Sunrun. So I'm going to help her navigate this, and we're going to keep you updated on the progress of Jacie's story. Don't let this situation and scenario happen. What happened to Jacie happened to you. If you have questions, if you have a Sunrun lease, contact me. There's some ways that I can help and advise. I'm helping. There's another family, Cindy and Dave, same thing, Sunrun, that they were told they wouldn't have any bills with APS, and they are, and their whole street went solar with that company.
Oh my gosh.
And so like one went and the next one went, and 5 or 6 of them went. So I've met with them and helping them change their rate plan and do a couple other things. So, but the first thing to do is don't do a lease in Arizona with anybody under the current rate plans. It is very, very hard to accomplish a zero APS bill because they're giving you inaccurate information, and they're leaving you wide open for something like the same circumstances that Jacie's experiencing to happen to you. So we're going to keep you posted. Jacie, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we're going to
appreciate it. You've been wonderful. You've really been very
Jacie,
helpful.
I don't feel like I've done a lot yet, but we're going to take this to TV and get a focus on it. And one thing that big companies don't like is they don't like publicity and negative publicity. And all we're doing is going and reporting this accurately. This is not a made up story. I've got all of Jacie's bills. I've got the contracts.
I sent her everything.
She's meticulously written every word that she was told. The misinformation and basic blatantly unprofessionalism of this particular person that came out to her house. So we've got everything documented that we are going to get her situation resolved. It's just taking us a little time because she's just one of many hundreds of thousands of Sunrun customers. So they really don't feel like there's any urgency. They're getting their money every single month from her. And, but we're going to get this taken care of for her. And we'll keep you guys updated. Thanks so much, Jacie.
Thank you. I appreciate it.